Hey, what's up, everybody? So my last video somehow got cut off when a plane flew over. So I'm going to try this again. I was reminiscing on my Clipper support days, back when I thought that team was a viable option for the city, back when I thought that they were a good little brother team. That's what I'm talking about. So I'm just going to continue where I left off, even though none of y'all saw that rant. I was in my bag, and that plane flew over and just knocked me all offline. But yeah, I remember the days with Pooh Richardson. I remember the days of Keith Kloss. Okay, my Clipper days. Murray, I think his name was Lamont Murray. I don't remember his first name, but I remember the dude. I remember Darius Miles and Quentin Richardson. That was my favorite Clipper squad with Lamar Odom and Elton Brand, D.A. I remember that team. I remember having Earl Boykins on the squad. I remember them having Danny Manning on the team. Like, my understanding of the Clippers goes back about as far as my understanding for the Lakers. Because when I started falling in love with basketball, I didn't just want to watch the Lakers. I wanted to watch the Lakers. I wanted to watch the Knicks. I wanted to watch the Rockets. I wanted to watch the Bulls. I wanted to watch the Pacers. Like, it was one of those things. Even though the Lakers were my squad, early on in my fandom, it was just about basketball. You know what I mean? I want to see everybody. So the Clippers gave me an opportunity to watch everybody. Turn on Channel 13, I think it was, and watch the Clippers when the Lakers weren't on. Or if the Clippers were playing somebody you wanted to see, you watch the Clippers get their ass beat by them. That was how it went. But the Clippers always had a good, solid combination of guys. It was just that they never really competed for anything. They didn't seem to have a bench ever. They didn't seem to have a scorer ever. That kind of thing, It was obvious that the owner at the time, the very racist Donald Sterling, thought it would be best to just kind of keep the team as a tax write-off. Or, I don't know, maybe he was sadistic and just wanted to see his team lose. I have no idea, truly, but it seemed like something like that was going on because he never put them in position to sustain anything that remotely looked possible in terms of success. Anytime they got a good player, he made sure he let them go. Anytime they had a draft pick, he made sure they picked somebody they had no business picking. Now, that can't always go to the owner, but in my opinion, if you don't have the right scouts, that's the owner thing. He's paying who to do what. If those people aren't good at what they do, then it's on him to make sure that he gets the people in there who can do the job. He, needless to say, had other things on his mind. Okay? So that was the Donald Sterling era. It moved on to Ballmer, and when Ballmer got the team, he brought a new energy, but in bringing that energy, I felt like, they waged war against the Lakers. That's what I'll say. And maybe this started before Ballmer got there. I'll say this started when the CP3 situation took place. Yeah, I'd say that. Maybe even before that, when they got BG. They started putting balloons on our statues and stuff like that. But regardless of the timeline, the point is, over the last 12 years, I'd say the Clippers, as a fan base, have been kicking the Lakers while they've had their struggles. It's like they cover up our banners. They go through all these different motions to show Laker Nation that you're either with us or against us, as opposed to how it actually was for Laker Nation, which was when the Lakers ain't on, we kind of watched y'all and look at y'all as our little brothers. They should not have had the campaign that they had against us when they had the little bit of success that they had, especially given the fact that they weren't delivering any championships. Okay? That was my opinion as a fan then. And looking back on it, I still feel the exact same way. They stuck their chest out and their nose up at us when we were down and when we had the gym bus era and all that. They laughed at us. They covered our banners, et cetera, et cetera. There was a lot of just little stuff going on. I've said all of this to say the Clippers would need a whole generation of people to die out in order for them to win this city over completely. You could put a super team on the Clippers, and you know what they would be? A super team that Laker fans hated. And Laker fans make up probably the majority of basketball fans in this city. Ain't no probably about it. 100% do. And it's a huge majority in that regard. The Clippers do have their fan base. And from what I've seen, Clipper fans are usually people who just wanted to root for the underdog, just couldn't root for someone who was winning too much because they were contrarians for the most part, or they had family members who probably loved the team because they were contrarians at some point back in the 80s when they were watching Magic and Kareem do all this good shit, and they couldn't stand it because they just wanted to see somebody else win, which in some cases is understandable. I don't want to pretend like it's not. But like, Clipper fans are people who basically hate the Lakers or are from out of town and hate the Lakers because of that, or from out of town who don't understand the dynamic I just displayed. Like, those are Clipper fans. People are just jumping on the bandwagon, kids who started liking them in the Blake Griffin era. Like, people who've been in this city for a long time, who really, really follow basketball, mess with no damn Clippers. They did when they were younger. They did in the 90s. They did in the early 2000s. But you got to understand the way things have gone over the last 10 years. They've waged war against Laker Nation in more ways than one, kicking us while we were down and laughing at us while we were trying to pull ourselves out of it. And done everything they could do to let us know it's F us. That's literally what I've taken from it as a fan who's paid very close attention to it. It's almost like they blame us for why they've sucked for so long. That's how I've gotten it from them. So for people who wonder why Laker Nation and diehard Laker fans loathe the Clippers the way they do, look at them as like a West Coast Celtics, it's because of how we've been treated by these folks over the last 10 years. Coupled with the racism of their previous owner, which left a taste in all of our mouths that we can't spit out. Why is this team still in LA? Is what we are all asking. You ask the average Laker fan what they think of the Clippers, they can probably say something similar to what I'm saying. We want them to move out. We want them to go to another city. We think they do better if they had an actual city that supported the players that they bring in. They have players. NBA is full of great guys that should be supported everywhere they go. So if a bunch of 12 of them happen to end up on the Clippers, I'm not going to sit up here and say that there's anything wrong with that. The problem is they don't get the support they deserve because they don't have an actual city behind them. And won't. That's what people need to understand. This is not a Knicks-Nets situation. This is not that. No, not at all. And it's not a rivalry that anyone respects because the Clippers have never done anything and we've never seen each other in the playoffs. Not ever. Not one time have the Clippers and the Lakers faced off in the playoffs. Never. There's no rivalry. And to top it all off, they're in our building covering our banners when they haven't even done as much as giving us a statued player. Not as much as a retired jersey. They've done nothing in almost 40 years for this city. So, like, the Clippers taking over. No. People want to know why Kawhi Leonard is possibly ruling out the Clippers. And to be honest with you, his reasons are his very own reasons. But I can tell you this. His family, people in his circle who understand this city, understand the dynamic that I just said. And I can guarantee you it factored into his decision as a whole. Maybe not his decision in terms of what he's thinking, but his team, they know that if he comes to the Clippers, he's going to have a city full of people that are just going to be hurt and mad at him for not coming to the Lakers. And most importantly, for going to the Clippers. I can't speak for nobody else. I don't know how other people feel about this. I've learned over the years that it's not smart to speak for others, and sometimes I try to do so anyway. But in this situation, I will not do that. What I will say is, I would much rather him stay in Toronto than go to the Clippers. Not because I think the Clippers are a bad situation, not because I think they have a bad organization at this point, or a bad infrastructure. All of that is not true. Their infrastructure is as good as anybody's. In fact, I think they've done a great job putting together what they've put together over the past couple years. And I like their team. And I think their roster fits Kawhi. So if they were in San Diego, I think he would probably choose them at this point. If he has this many questions about the Lakers, I think he would choose them. But they're not in San Diego. They're in the Staples Center. And because they're in the Staples Center, do you know what he has to look up at every day? Selfies of himself covering up banners that he knows are there from the team that he should have went to if he chooses them. That's why they're out. If you ask me, that's why they would be out if I was here in this situation. Because you can't have the support. You're not going to get the support. Ask CP3 if he ever felt like he was loved like that in this city. Ask Blake Griffin if he ever felt like he was loved like that. DJ, Elton Brand. Ask them if they really felt like they was on the squad. No, you don't. Because this city doesn't love the Clippers. In fact, we don't even like them. Yes, they have their fans. They can fill up arenas for the same reasons I used to watch them as a kid, because other people come into the building. It's true. Or because young people who don't understand the dynamics of how things have gone are just hopping on the bandwagon, which is fine. Or old people who did the same thing back in the 90s because they hated the Lakers and couldn't stand success, which is fine. That's fine. Everybody has their right to feel the way they feel. But as a whole basketball nation in LA, it's understood. Not only do we not like the Clippers because they haven't done anything for us and they had a racist owner for 30 years who hadn't done anything for us, but over the last 10 years, they've done everything to kick us while we're down. So, F the Clippers, go Lakers, and that is the dynamic as I see it. I wanted to make this video. This is a very important video because I know people from out of town don't see that. They don't know that. They just look at it and say two teams in LA. Why wouldn't someone go to the Clippers? Yeah, let's root for the Clippers. All that. No, y'all don't understand. Y'all don't get it. So I try to make you get it with this video. Take care. Video.